This video is sponsored by TNU Fitness.
So my name is Sally Seram Osei, now Osei Abuchi. I'm a PR person, communications practitioner. I'm also a writer and an editor. And I have two lovely kids, a boy and a girl. They are twins and they are my first.
Hi, my name is Yabua. I'm a mother of three. 5 years ago, after the birth of my first daughter, I became frustrated. I researched and experimented with different lifestyle changes that ensured that I lost the 23 kg, which I gained during the pregnancy. 10 other women came and said, Tracy, what's your secret? Help us to lose weight. That got me excited, and that's how I got inspired to start TNU. TNU is the new you.
So we got married in August 2018, and I went to school 2 weeks after that. That's the Trinity Theological Seminary. So I wasn't home with my husband, and we both planned that because of school, I wasn't going to have any children yet. So we're actually taking cautious plans not to get pregnant. And by 2019, early 2019, I went in for an implant as a family planning method. But after a few months, I was having issues with depression as a repercussion from the implant. So I decided to take it out. And we're still on the natural ways of controlling pregnancy. But somewhere around August 2019, when I went back to school, I had missed my period. But I missed my period occasionally, so I didn't think it was a big deal. Then I think for a month it didn't come, but I started having severe pains at night. So I can't sleep, and my roommate was even complaining that in the night you hear me screaming, my feet started swelling. So I bought a test kit and I checked, I wasn't pregnant, and I was happy. So I went to the hospital. I did some tests. The doctor also said we should test for pregnancy. I told him I wasn't pregnant, but he said, well, he wants to be sure because I'm a married woman. So we did the test and it came out negative. I was so happy because I kept telling him I am not pregnant. Then he gave me some medication. He said he was suspecting fibroids or something like that. So he gave me medication and I went back to school. But I was taking it 2 weeks. I was still in that same pain. So I told my sister about it. Then she told a nurse friend who recommended that we need to go and do a scan, because all this while we hadn't done any scan. So we went, she got us a receipt from a doctor to go and do the scan. But I also decided I'll go again to a different hospital because I'd been to the previous hospital twice, 2 doctors, and still nothing showed. So this third doctor also said he wanted to do a pregnancy test, and I was even angry. But because the scan was also coming, I said, okay, let me do it. So we ran the blood test there, and then the scan came. So we left the hospital where I went to see the doctor to the place to do the scan, a different hospital. And there, when we did the scan showed that I was pregnant with twins. And when we came back to the hospital, that test was positive. So that's where we found out that we're expecting.
TNU is the new you, which is a lifestyle change. Through TNU, over 200 women have been able to transform their lives. The focus of TNU is not only to make women slim, because there are several slim women out there who aren't healthy. The focus of TNU is to make these women healthier, happier, and super confident in themselves. So if you are a woman and you want to look and feel your best at whatever age, call us or message us on the number below.
So I had a planned cesarean session because my first baby was breech. So I couldn't do a vaginal birth. Coincidentally, my husband and I had been discussing giving birth on his day of birth, which is a Sunday. So we had some back and forth issues, but eventually, by God's grace, we got a Sunday. So on that Sunday morning, I went to the hospital with my mom, my sister, and my husband. My brother drove us. And when we got there to the hospital, my doctor actually delayed. Like, he told me to get at a time. We got there, he wasn't coming. So I think I started getting anxious and fidgety because I was very tired by that time. And then he came in and they said they had a lot of emergencies. And because mine was a planned cesarean, I had to wait for the emergencies to be attended to. So we waited a while, and then finally, I think around 9 thereabouts, we went into the theater for the surgery. My glasses, I wear glasses, and my glasses, without it, I can't see. I can see very short, but I can't see much. So I had to take it off for the surgery. That meant that I couldn't see the people in the room with me. And that made me very nervous. I was scared. I had my BP shot very high, which had never happened throughout the pregnancy. But because I was uncomfortable with everybody around, it happened. And I was given the injection, the epidural. When I was injected the first time, the doctor pressed my abdomen and he asked me if I felt it, and I said yes. So he was like, I'm not supposed to feel anything. So if that's the case, they'll need to re-inject me. And that second time, they were like experimenting. I don't know why. They kept punching me here and there. Then after a while, I couldn't see anything. I think I was just gone. Then the next time I woke up, I was in the recovery ward. And that's when I think the first question I asked when I opened my eyes were, like, where are my children? And I saw them. They showed me that, oh, they are here. And I said, oh, we're full. That's the first thing I said. I asked them to bring them very close, like, so I could have that touch. But after I even said, oh, we're full, I asked them to bring the glasses, just to be sure that, you want to count and be sure everything is safe. Yes. I was wild. Yeah, I was. That should capture it. I was wild because I had been told from the beginning that I was expecting twins, and even along the line we found out it was a boy and a girl. But I was always wondering, how would they look like? Would they look like me? Would they look like their dad? My husband is a bit dark-skinned, and I like fair babies, so I wanted to have a fair baby. So when I was just like waiting to see them look fair, and they were very white when they were born. So I was like, oh wow, they look like me. Like they've come the way with this cast. So I was very excited. Yeah. First, it was unexpected, the whole process. So adjusting was a bit hard, but I think I'd read a lot and I'd been watching and listening to a lot of stories. So I think I was prepared for it. So I consciously fought against getting depressed. But it was tough having to raise 2 children and combining it with school. Fortunately, my mother has been a blessing, Mrs. Merosei, and my big sister, Mavis, and even my brother too. I'm living with my first family now, as my parents and my siblings now. So they have actually helped me pull through. Otherwise, waking up at dawn to go for lectures, coming back, and throughout the night they don't sleep. You don't get to sleep either. You still need to do house chores and everything. It has been tough. But when they wake up, you see them in the morning, they smile at you first thing in the morning. You feel fulfilled. So it makes everything worth it. But then again, another big issue for me is that after my surgery, I've been having some back pains, some severe back pain, and because of that, I can't bend like before. And that has been the biggest hurdle because the things I used to do, I can't do them now. You can't stand for long, you can't sit for long. And most of my work has to do with typing, like research and reading. So it's affected my life big time. But we are still moving by God's grace. I wish I knew how stressful it was, or it is, and especially for twins, because it's my first time. And although I've always wanted to have twins, I didn't know that it was this stressful. Like, you need to finish with one and attend to the other one. And I'm even faced with a situation where I have to breastfeed both of them at the same time. Like they don't wait. So most of the time, I do both at a time. And that is stressful because they are going bigger and heavier. So it's hard doing that. And having to add it to schooling, people make it look easy. But really, like motherhood is a lot of work. Because now I can't go anywhere without getting backup. And even when I need to go out, we have to pack like a day before. There was once I missed doing that. When we got to the venue, I realized I didn't take wipes. And I'm like, oh. So I wish I had known that it involves so much planning, so much work. My survival, like that I'm still here. Because sometimes there are some days when you're already tired even before the day starts. Because they are up at midnight, they are up at 1 a.m., still refusing to sleep. You are breastfeeding till morning, and then it's morning, so you have to wake up and move and do everything that has to do with life. So I'm surprised that I've not broken down, honestly, because the pain that sometimes you have to go through to move through the day, and then they both come to you that carry me at a time. So you have to hold one here, hold one here. Sometimes you back one and one is in front. And they are just laughing. They don't understand what you're going through. But I'm surprised that through it all, I'm still able to smile at them, love them, and even make time to be present for others because of the vocation I find myself entering. So it's a lot of grace, and I'm amazed at how God is taking us through it. So I like reading. So I wish there had been some manual on raising kids right, but I realized there isn't none. But in the Bible, we have some models. So I'm looking on that, and I'm hoping to learn on the job. I always say that for me, the best thing I can give my children in terms of raising them right is the Word of God, giving them a personal relationship with God. So that is my big focus. Every other thing is just an add-on. And personally, I have a philosophy that whoever wants to date or marry my son or daughter, you need to be armed with the Word of God. So when you get to my gate, you have to give me 10 scriptures straight. If it's right, then you have a potential. So that means having that expectation for others, I need to arm my kids even more and not just recite the word, but live it virtually, practically. So God first, then every other thing we learn on the job. Just praying for grace to be good parents for them and to raise children who are not beneficial just to us, but to the world, to the church of God, because the world is already in a lot of chaos. So you wouldn't want to add a child or children who would increase the mess and the pain. But you want to bring up people who are willing to be compassionate, who are willing to give up even their lives for others, as Christ taught us. So we are just praying that we'll be good parents and have children who God will be proud of. Yeah. So far, it's been 9 months. Okay, so because of my vocation again, I am attached to congregations. Like I need to, let's say Sunday, I need to preach. And teach even on some days when I was in school. The hardest part has been sacrificing my children for those programs, like having to leave them behind to go for a service or leave them behind to go to school. It's been hard because it's like you are giving people the word, you are teaching others, and then it's at the expense of your kids. But I realized that it means even at this stage, I'm teaching them how to sacrifice, like how to be able to hold on with their own needs, like wanting their mother around, just so others can be encouraged by the Word of God. So even at this stage, indirectly, they are learning what it means to sacrifice, to give yourself for others. So I'll say that yes, leaving them behind, because I remember there was this particular time when I had to counsel someone on phone for like 2 hours. And when the person's call came, I was nursing my daughter, but I told the person to call a particular time. So when the person called, I had to leave her. And when I got up and I was closing the door, she gave me that look like, oh man, you're leaving me. I felt so guilty, but I needed to do that, like attend to that person. So yeah, I would say that combining my vocation and raising them well, right, in a godly way has been a double something. And on Sundays sometimes, because I need to like go and preach, I won't have time for them. So I have to sacrifice. They are going to church, like they need to be home to be attended to by their aunts or my mom. And that is not the best. I wish my children always go to church with me. But for now, we've all had to compromise because of the situation we find ourselves in. So yeah, we are hoping it gets better as we go along. My daughter is very selective on who takes her. And there are times when she'll be with someone, she'll be screaming and all that. Then when she sees me and I take her, then she stops crying. It's like, oh, I'm a mother. Like, okay, I've come, so my daughter is fine. And then when I go to school, when I go for lectures, or when I even go out, we live on a story building. So they stand like by the window on the bed. They stand on the bed and hold the rails and they look out to see whether I'm coming. My sister told me actually that when it's time for me to return from school, they go and stand there. They just know the time. I don't know how, but they go and stand there looking out the window, like to see whether I'm coming. She said I might not believe her when she tells me, so she took a video and she showed it to me. And when I saw that video, like I was so touched. And when you open the door, they can't walk now. So you see them jumping, like throwing their hands, screaming. They're like, oh, somebody is so happy to see me. Like that is wow for me. And then in the mornings, every morning when they wake up, we sleep together on the same bed. But when they wake up, they'll crawl to me and cling to me and smile at me. Like, wow. So I'm a mom. There was also this time that when they were younger, my mother was bathing them. And I don't know what happened. Then my daughter was screaming. She was screaming, she said, Ma, like I had turned my back to her. She just said, Ma, like, and even my mom was like, look at her, she's calling for her mother. And I was like, oh, she said so she said Ma first, which was nice. So yeah. On my journey, which I'm still on with regards to motherhood, I've realized that when we are specific with God, He gives us what we want. I started asking for twins when I was like small. When I started seeing twins and admiring them, I told God that I want to have twins. And by God's grace, I have them. So I believe that we should be specific when we want something from God. And then again, because they're motherhood something, I want to entreat all of us to trust in God. Like, as you tell Him what you want, be able to trust in Him and have the faith that He will make it happen in His time. I think that is the catchword for me. In God's time, He makes all things happen for us, even when we least expected it. So trusting in God's time, not our own time, but God's time, all will be well with us. So I wish all mothers expectant and in their field, I wish us all well. And God bless us all. We are doing such a great job.
This video was brought to you by TNU Fitness.